Hello? Hello? Peanut, say hello. Hi everyone. I think I'm live. I hope the audio's okay. Hi, I'm Brad. Um, I'm waiting for someone in chat to make sure everything is good. We're good. Okay, cool. Hello everyone. I am so happy to have you all here on my people might be surprised I'm streaming already since I had like a weird mental breakdown. I'm gonna talk about that first in a second, but I'm very thankful. So I had last week I made a video talking about my mental health, and since then I took like 2 full days of like no internet pretty much. And after those 2 days, I was already way better. Like it's actually crazy, guys. If you ever feel yourself just overwhelmed mentally, especially due to social media, just disconnect for like even a couple days if you can. It will make a big difference. Otherwise, that being said, um, I am still not in full research mode. I'm sort of in the process of sort of what's the word like easing back into it because again, even though I feel refreshed from those 2 days of just no internet, I still am working on figuring out the right balance for everything. So I probably won't go back into my full research mode until after next week's Connect. But after that, I'm probably gonna limit everything to like certain hours of the day because that is probably the healthy way to do it. But other than that, like I've actually made time for myself to play video games, which this is crazy. I love video games. I'm sure that's not surprising to a lot of people, but literally the past 2 months, I probably spent like 2 hours playing video games on my own time. But this week I've actually had some time to do that, and yeah, so I'm really thankful. Really, the community, the reaction to that video that I was talking about it was insane, actually. Not even just from you guys, but like other content creators all came together and like like it was like one of those moments. You know, like some people have these moments where like you kind of feel like society is crazy, but then there are these moments of light that's like there's still hope for humanity, right? It was one of those times for me. So yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way because that is an elephant in the room. I've not done too much research. I did okay. I'm gonna be honest. I did like 2 hours worth of research to prepare for the stream because even though I was gone for only like 4 days, there's a lot of stuff going on all the time. That's just kind of the nature of the VR industry and the hardware industry. And I really wanted to talk about a few of those things, for sure. We got a lot of cool topics, I think. I hope you'll think they're interesting. But before we do that, I want to say just a quick shout out. I love watching VR podcasts, right? And I pretty much lurk all the VR podcasts that exist, most of them. And I watched Between Realities, and I was literally sorry, I was blown away because Alex is wearing one of my merchandise shirts, and that's like the first time, like literally seeing my merch on another content creator, like during a podcast, was just like that was amazing. Thank you, Alex, and thank you. I love their podcast especially. So, all right, let's get right into it, guys. I hope you're all doing great because I'm doing great. I don't even have any dark spots under my eyes. That's already a big difference, right? People kept commenting on that, but that is already a sign. All right, let's get right into it. I know we talked a lot about mental health, but it's important to talk about mental health in a platform that kind of um, grinds you to worry about it. So this literally came out last night. The Verge literally came out with this exclusive news that Facebook is planning to rebrand the company with a new name. And it's probably going to be announced either right before Connect, which is next Thursday, starts, or during it. this was one of those things where, like, I read this and I'm like, wow, it makes sense. It makes sense, but it's still quite shocking. Um, just to bring up another podcast, it was really funny. We're gonna talk about a few things related to this because it's I don't really care much about what name they're gonna choose, but really what this means for Oculus or really Facebook or the entire company, as us brainless consumers that are consuming this stuff. But I also watch F Reality podcasts, and they were talking about what their predictions were at Connect next week. And the funniest thing about this is one of the topics they wanted to mention was what are the things we definitely would not see next week at Connect. And Mike, I love all these guys, by the way. Mike mentioned how two things we definitely won't see is a new Rift, and we definitely won't see the Facebook login removed, right? Well, it made me think after I saw this rebranding, what if this is funny. So they're rebranding Facebook name, or at least maybe having a new parent company, which I'll get into in a second. What if instead of removing the Facebook login, they just rename the company so that there is no Facebook login anymore for Oculus products? That would kind of make Mike's prediction wrong, right? Because they would effectively remove the Facebook login, kind of, in like a whatever way. But people on social media has been like kind of going all over with this. There's some really funny stuff being brought up. Let me see if I have a. This is some good guesses from Twitter of what the name will be. I guess I cannot zoom in on this. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry, I can't zoom in on this. But yeah, this is some of the names that Twitter seems to be thinking they're going with. Fakebook, Faceplant. The most serious answer I see from a lot of people is a new parent company under the name Horizon. Again, I'm not gonna care too much about the actual naming scheme. But what this means is, it's likely that Facebook, Instagram, Oculus, all of these would be put under a parent company called, let's just go with Horizon. There would be the Horizon company, and everything under it, like Facebook, for example, the social media platform Facebook would be Facebook by Horizon, or Oculus by Horizon, or Instagram by Horizon. And it makes me wonder again, like, will they just change the Facebook login to whatever the new name is to call it the new login, the new company login? And there's just been some really funny stuff popping up about this. I wanna pull up another little like image here. So this is from the Carrot Weather app. It's if you know what Carrot Weather, it's a funny app that is like you can set how controversial you want the things that pop up to be. And today's thing says, if Facebook thinks changing its name will make the world forget about the whole tearing apart society thing, they are right. And this is a very cynical take, but they're probably true. All this news came out literally right after a bunch of kind of very bad information came out from a bunch of journalists, literally a bunch of stuff about how like Instagram is aware of the bad the self-body issues that it causes for teenage girls especially. And like all this stuff just has been piling and piling for years now, but like all at once it was just Facebook does not have a good image. Anytime that anyone brings up Facebook, no one, even people that like Oculus stuff, no one wants to be the person that defends Facebook, honestly. Because they know that they've been caught doing some bad things, and they're constantly getting caught doing bad things. Even if they're not, in the scheme of things, at worse than other companies, sometimes their image is bad. So rebranding, for most people that are not aware of anything, I do think the rebranding is going to psychologically, in some people's minds, work for Facebook. That's why they're doing it. You don't do this unless you really feel it's going to benefit you, because Facebook, I mean, the Facebook brand is worth a lot just by its name. Um, so I do think this is, like, for people like us that are in the know and know what they're doing, I don't think it's going to benefit. Like, they're not changing the company. They're not going to change, like, any of their terms of services, most likely. It's just a name change, you know? So, yes. Is there any what do you guys think the name will be, by the way? What's your, I don't even care if it's a joke guess, but like what are your best guesses? I'm gonna start actually looking at chat now. Um they should call themselves Brand. My brand. Remember those old was it eye contact commercials or something? My brand. Even the people at Facebook hate Facebook. Yeah, I actually follow a lot of people. And a lot of people at work at Facebook follow me, and I constantly see them that they're aware. They're totally aware that they work at a company that people don't like. And they kind of own up to it, a lot of them. So, but like, you know, that's the thing. It's like they are doing some crazy things, right? It's like they just announced that they're hiring 10,000 employees for Europe to push the metaverse or whatever they're working on VR wise. 10,000 employees just for Europe? That's insane. For VR and AR? They are throwing a ton of money into the XR space, so. Innovative online industries? Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot too. Metabook Oasis. If they actually name themselves anything with like metaverse in the name, I'm honestly gonna I'm gonna cringe quite a bit. Because the metaverse name has already become such a buzzword. Phil Spencer at Xbox even said that himself. I think it was Phil Spencer. Which we'll get into that topic a little bit later. But Joe Book. Yeah. Deep Thoughts. Oh, Deep Thoughts. Wow. That's an amazing. Okay, hold on. I need it. Hold on. This is how the person in chat spelled it. This would be amazing for a BCI name, like company name. Deep Thoughts. Can I trademark this for a BCI company? That would be amazing. Like, this could be like the BCI company that like checks arousal levels. That's an amazing idea. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's get on to the next topic. I have more interesting topics, but I do think this topic is big. I think we're going to be pretty shocked, actually, to see how well this works for them. But I could be wrong. I just think it's going to work very well for them. All right. Yep, I mean, they even removed... So Oculus Connect, if you haven't been following VR for a while, Connect used to be just Oculus Connect for like 6 years. And then it turned into Facebook Connect. And now it's just Connect. Like, they removed Facebook from the name. This might be just a temporary moniker until we hear the new branding. But, yeah, I mean, they were... This also feels very sudden, because this was originally called Facebook Connect, I believe, 2021, but I think they removed the name. So, I don't know how long this name change has been planned, but let's talk a little bit more about Facebook, because I know we talked about this last week. We got more topics that are more interesting, and this is kind of pivoting into the interesting topics, but I do want to recover a few things that I talked about last for these prototypes, because I swear to God, if we don't hear more information about these prototypes next week, even if they're not coming into full products, I am dying to know more about these, especially this one. This one is the one I care about the most, honestly. Like, I want to know more about this one. But yeah, this one was like very similar to Vive Flow. I mean, it's clearly got a very small form factor. Display and optics are clearly very close together. It's got stuff in the back of the head strap, probably a battery, I would imagine, to power the front, whatever's in it. I don't have much more to add to this one. But I want everyone to focus on the staging, the staging of each image, for these prototype images, because this one, it's just him wearing it, and that's it. There's nothing else. There's no wires. There's no nothing. And then we have this one. This one's clearly another prototype that looks very Quest-like, with like IR emitters and stuff that we've kind of been talking about a lot for like what a Quest Pro or whatever would have. Probably some extra cameras for face tracking is what I would guess, but still very similar to the design of a Quest product. The only wire is this that connects the this extra thing here to the head strap, probably for some sort of power or something else. But again, there's the staging of the image is very basic. It's very standalone, all-in-one-esque here. But this one, the more I looked at this one, the more I thought about it, I should say. The more this one really fascinates me, actually, the more I think about it. The reason why this one fascinates me more than I originally thought is because the way the image is staged compared to the other ones. This image, so this is not Mark Zuckerberg's desk. He even says here that it's a Retina resolution prototype, and it's at the Redmond offices, the prototype labs. But look how this image is staged compared to Boz's. Boz's is alone, nothing in the background. He's just standing in one spot, nothing there. But this one, we have him sitting at a computer desk, and there's something here on the actual monitor. This really feels very eerily similar to a PC VR headset that might be doing split rendering stuff, similar to what we've been talking about with Valve. Because there's currently no, first of all, Retina resolution means super high resolution per eye, right? The current XR2 chip does not support resolutions that high. Basically, the highest that they support is 3000 by 3000 per eye. And even then, the actual processing to drive those displays in a standalone chip, impossible right now. So when I see something like this, and then I see this staging of this image that has a PC, and even though it's wireless, I really do believe we're seeing something related to a PC VR headset that is focused on split rendering with another PC. And the reason why I came to this even more is because I actually got a new lead very recently. Literally the day I took a break, right before I took a break, I got a new lead that, let me find the tweet. That I kind of talked about this on Twitter. So I found I can't talk too much about the lead because there's some stuff I shouldn't talk about out of respect for the person that gave me the lead. They gave me some perimeters that I had to kind of follow to talk about it. So I can't tell you what the company is doing this, but ever since this lead, it's made me realize that AMD and oh wait, let me pull this up. AMD and Qualcomm are definitely doing a lot of stuff together right now, with a lot of different manufacturers or OEMs that might be making VR headsets, and not only just VR headsets, but companies that might want to make compute units or even consoles dedicated to pairing a headset with a built-in compute unit or like an ARM chip with another compute unit, either wirelessly, especially wirelessly. The big focus is like wireless, teaming up different tasks that the headset does with another compute unit to be able to drive things better for VR. Because that's the only way you can get like Retina resolution and all this stuff to be possible, right? And I found this new company that's actually a pretty popular company in the scheme of things. We're also working with Qualcomm and AMD. And they were also working on a console built with most likely AMD chips, like an APU or something. And they even advertised previously that they were using a Qualcomm chip in their headset to do wireless PC VR. And then if you guys, I've been talking about it a lot. Valve also, I found in the Steam OS 3 files that Valve had a reference to Deckard, which had a brand new chip from Qualcomm that had 12 cores, which is totally different than any Qualcomm chip that is on the market right now. Every Qualcomm chip on the market has like about 8 cores on average, even including the XR2. So when I see stuff like this, and then I see stuff like this, Valve is probably not the only one that is testing out a brand new Qualcomm chip for split rendering. Facebook is even bigger than Valve, right? There's no doubt that they probably are using the same technology or like very similar stuff to do split rendering. For even if they don't release a product like this and market, they're definitely testing stuff out, right? It's just like, it makes a lot more sense the more you think about it. So then I started thinking about, okay, well, we don't know anything about what this new Qualcomm chip would be. But unless you follow the smartphone industry. The smartphone industry, I mean, Qualcomm has been probably, they're not struggling by any means, but they've been getting some very big competition recently. Yesterday, Google just announced, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, Google announced the new Pixel phone. Previously, Google has been using Snapdragon chips in all their phones, which is that's a lot of supply. That's a big buyer for chips. But Google has switched to using their own chips, similar to how Apple has been also building their own chips. Also similar to how Samsung, for example, has been building their own chips for a while. So they are in a weird moment where slowly all their big buyers that have been buying all their chips are starting to build their own. So they have to start partnering with other companies because they're lagging behind, not in just like buyers, but stuff such as like the graphics capability of the Snapdragon chips have been slow, right? So I've been doing a little bit of studies of what Snapdragon's next SoC for phones are going to be, because it's very likely, well, we'll get into that in a moment. Where is Amazon in the VR game? I think they are very interested in hopping into VR soon. I cannot tell you why. I can't tell you why, because there was some private conversations I had with people at Amazon that were very interested in some of my videos. So I can't, you know. Anyway, so the next biggest chip that is supposed to come out by the end of this year is supposed to be like a Snapdragon 895, and it's supposed to be built on a 4 nanometer die compared to what currently XR2 is built on 7 nanometer, which is a pretty big difference. And I want to point out a few things from these articles that talk about it. The big components here I want to really bring up, again, even though I'm showing off stuff that would be put into a smartphone, but a lot of the stuff that would be put into the next generation Qualcomm chip would be built into either an XR3 or something similar to that. And I want to bring up some of the big things here that also show there's a lot of connection with these companies working together to build the next compute unit for VR. Support for Qualcomm Fast Connect 6900 subsystem. That is the one. That's the one thing I really wanted to point out the first. I think, what was it, last week? I talked about how. Last week I talked about this. How they how Qualcomm partnered with Microsoft, AMD, and Valve to work on a new way to send packets using all bands of a Wi-Fi chip to get more reliable Wi-Fi connection, right? Basically, the way it works is it's to get better latency for mostly small tasks right now. We don't know if this could be beneficial for VR yet, but it was a partnership again from all these companies that we'll note these companies again in a few minutes. But these companies are working together to make better Wi-Fi 6, and it all relies on the where is it? The 6900 chip. The Fast Connect 6900 chip. You need this chip to get this new feature. The XR2 has a 6800 chip, for anyone that's wondering. So it will not have this feature out of the gate. Or a feature like this if it was rebuilt for VR purposes. I don't want to talk more about this feature because, again, I talked about it last week. But I want to talk about how a lot of these companies that are bringing support for this ecosystem relate to a lot of the leaks that came out for the next generation Snapdragon chip. Again, Valve, AMD, but also Lenovo. Why is Lenovo interesting? Well, I've been looking up some of these leaks, and apparently, according to the leaks, and this was posted in August, the first phone to use this next generation Qualcomm chip is the Lenovo Legion 3 Pro. And again, we go back to this. Lenovo is one of the brands. And we just constantly see AMD working together with Qualcomm, and not only just Qualcomm, but also Samsung. Samsung... Oh, did I just mess something up? Hold on. I might just mess something up. Hold on. Yeah, so Samsung's also Samsung's also working with AMD to boost GPU performance in their chips. So we're seeing AMD working with a lot of mobile chip companies to boost graphics power, but also AMD makes their own APUs that are x86. And we're seeing a lot of these cool things related to wireless PC VR with compute units or consoles. AMD also makes, for any reminder, AMD also makes the APU in the PlayStation 5 and the Steam Deck, but whatever. Sorry, I need to breathe a second. A lot of information, right? So yeah, AMD chip APU built into PlayStation 5, and we know PlayStation 5 is going to have PSVR 2 coming out next year most likely. And it makes me wonder, seeing all this stuff coming out with AMD working with Qualcomm, with Samsung, and like all these companies that are definitely interested in VR, and also working like with split rendering for PCVR to do wireless PCVR better and make resolutions of a lot of other things greater. At the same time, we see PlayStation also is based on AMD. It would be very interesting if when PSVR 2 comes, they would also be able to support a split rendering feature as well, and also wireless VR maybe, by just slapping on a new chip from Qualcomm in there. Lenovo also makes the Think Reality headsets. I just think people that are like nervous right now about the lack of competition for VR headsets, I think you are all going to be very surprised how fast a lot of big companies are going to jump in the ring. That's why I also think that whatever Facebook announces, even if they don't announce multiple products coming soon, I think it's very important for Facebook to really dive deep into their prototypes and what they're working on. I would say this is the most important Facebook or Connect for them, for sure. That's why they're rebranding. They are literally rebranding just to focus on the metaverse, because they have to make a name for themselves right now. I think next week is so big for them because next year we're going to see a ton of new players hopping in soon that are huge competition. And the biggest problem with Facebook, like, again, even if Apple, which we're going to talk about Apple a little bit in a second, even if Apple jumps in the ring with an expensive headset, people don't care how much they spend for Apple products. Facebook could literally release like cheap headsets, but when you compare a Facebook branding to an Apple branding, especially with all the crap that Facebook has under, like all the stuff under the rug that has been come out recently, no one's gonna actively want a Facebook unless they really just don't have the money for something better, especially as competition really heats up. Samsung also had the Odyssey HMDs. Yes, yeah. I think there's gonna be a lot of PCVR HMDs coming out from a lot of companies that rely on this split rendering stuff. because the biggest issue for adoption right now for PCVR headsets is all of them relied on a tether. That's kind of like the biggest issue. Like stand honestly, standalone has been so popular because it's wireless, right? They got rid of the wire, and that's a huge barrier of entry for people, right? Especially when they started releasing stuff like Virtual Desktop and AirLink, that allowed people to actually play their PCVR wirelessly. That increased adoption a lot. Again, Quest 2 is the most connected headset on Steam. That's a lot of headsets just for PCVR. So I think this strategy of providing a chip and the split rendering protocol and everything will be beneficial. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. I don't want to miss this, but I also said this. The company I was talking about earlier, who is working with AMD and Qualcomm, their console they're working on also seems to work on a version of Linux. Very fascinating. That's very big for Linux users because I know Linux users have been waiting for the time to shine. I think we're near that point, especially for VR. I think VR is really where Linux is going to shine once all the back end support, which is mostly there. It's growing very fast, and AMD is definitely on the forefront when it comes to Linux support. We even see NVIDIA, who, if anyone has not been catching up with NVIDIA and Linux support, well, let me just say, a couple months ago, I was switching to Linux hard because I really saw a future for Linux and VR especially, and I wanted to remove any friction to be able to actually use my Linux software. But I was on an NVIDIA GPU. I was on a 3090, and the problems I dealt with the drivers, the proprietary drivers from NVIDIA, and all the problems I constantly ran into for Linux were terrible. Absolutely atrocious. It made me so upset. I ended up selling my 3090 to buy a 6900 XT AMD card. And yeah, but literally right after I did that, guess what started happening? NVIDIA all of a sudden has started deciding, well, wait a minute. We need to start actually doing better drivers for Linux. And we've been seeing a lot of drivers that benefit Wayland, which is like it's a compositor that's being switched to very quickly for Linux systems. And like NVIDIA is starting to catch up all out of nowhere almost for Linux. And I think it's because, again, all these OEMs, all these companies are getting together behind closed doors and talking about their future plans. And I think Linux is related to a lot of these future plans. And NVIDIA does not want to be left in the dust for that small consumer sector. Even if it's small in the grand scheme of things, it's still nice that maybe in the future to have compute units run on NVIDIA of some sort. So, yeah. I did not know. I have not been messaged, or I haven't talked to or messaged Valve ever. They've never contacted me. In fact, I do. It's actually funny because I do get a lot of messages from people in the industry, but not Valve. A lot of people in the industry love what I'm doing, by the way. Like, you think I'm like, you think that like the stuff I'm doing would alienate me from a lot of these companies. But for the most part, a lot of people have been really cheering me on and really enjoying the stuff that I've been diving into. But Valve being Valve, they're not going to contact me because, you know, that's not how they do. Yeah. Let me catch up with chat. NVIDIA drivers are still awful on Linux, but they are getting better, and it seems like they're putting a lot more effort into trying to make them better. Which, again, they've like pretty much abandoned Linux for a while. Valve hates you? I don't think so. I just hope that a lot of my predictions are close enough to where they are not too high. But I don't know. We'll get to that when that time comes. Anyway, while we are on the topic of split rendering, there was another thing that was brought to my attention. So doing this work, doing these kind of streams and videos or like research brings a lot of people to my channel, and they are honestly, I'm a spokesperson for a lot of work that the community does as well. A lot of people help me either bring things to my attention or just tell me things that they find out, and then I publish that in a more digestible way, basically. Um, so if I'm wrong, it's kind of a lot of people are wrong too, but it's mostly me wrong too. But China. Let's talk about China for a minute. China is a big market for VR, and it's growing huge. Even if it and due to the fact that how China operates, it's kind of like a bubble. Anyone that's in the West doesn't hear about what they're working on, right? It's just the way it works. But they are big and they're growing fast. And due to the fact I do these videos, a lot of people that are, or I should say, even a small sector of people that live in China every day and love VR, they start coming to me and communicating what's going on in the China sector to me, which is very valuable. If you, by the way, if you are actually watching this and you're from China, and there's like any forums you go on that talk about purely VR, I don't even care if they're not in English. Please let me know about them, because there's a huge value for me in figuring out what China's doing and keeping up with that. But anyway, recently there was a very big yearly conference in China, right here in Nanchang, which is the capital of the Jiangxi province, from what I understand. And the exhibition is called the World Conference on VR Industry. Very big conference. Just to give you an idea of how much this conference is worth, $11 billion. Okay, so this was only a 2 or 3 day conference, by the way. 2 or 3 days of a bunch of Chinese companies coming together, showing what they're working on, and talking to each other. 11 billion US dollars of contracts were signed during those 2 or 3 days at this conference that just ended yesterday. Very big. That's a lot of money. 11 billion US dollars. So, yes. Anyway, what Apple from my Discord, which looks like Eon Han, who's in the chat, I see you. They gave me a tip that they were actually at this conference, and they talked to some representatives at this company right here, Pimax. Pimax is, well, a controversial company in the West for sure, but they do some interesting things. And they announced recently that they were working on, or they're about to announce something next week. They're doing a live event next week, which I'll probably stream because it's at a reasonable time, called Pimax Frontier. And basically they're going to be explaining their roadmap of what they're working on hardware-wise. And one of the things that they're going to talk, or at least tease or talk about, is a brand new headset that they're codenamed Reality, that they'll tease it, but most likely show it off fully in CES, which I believe is in January. Usually it's in January. Yeah. CES is another big thing too, by the way. That happens every year in Las Vegas. So, but again, Apple from my Discord let me know that they talked to some representatives at the Pimax booth, and they stated that they are working on a standalone headset of some sort. The specs that he told me, I have it here somewhere. Okay, I don't have it here somewhere. Specs he told me were like basically was 8K standalone. Probably just slapping a compute unit of some sort onto what they're already working on. Where did I put it? And that is interesting. A Pimax standalone headset does seem like something that a Chinese company would want to work on, because again, standalone is the future, whether it's for PCVR or to do split rendering, or just standalone to remove the friction to get new users into VR. That is just for sure the way it goes. I'm just not sure whether this will be focused on just standalone play, or they're just putting a chip in to do wireless PCVR, because Pimax has been promising wireless PCVR for a while. And Pimax being a Chinese company that's, you know, been around for a while, I can see them also jumping onto the new Snapdragon chip built in to do wireless PC VR with Wi-Fi 6. I can see that being a thing. So that's interesting. That's something to keep an eye on. I am not, I've said this before, but I'm not too much interested in Pimax products normally because I'm very sensitive to the distortion that the lenses and like the weird wide displays give. But it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on, and because of that little hint that the Pimax representative said at their booth, I will definitely be watching because it's interesting. I want to see how they manage to do it because Pimax 8K headsets. Let me show you how Pimax works because Pimax 8K is a little. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. So Pimax does they advertise a little strange. Usually when people talk about resolution per eye, they're usually talking about square most of the time. Like for example, I've been talking about like 2K by 2K per eye. Well, Pimax gets their 8K resolution by using horizontal displays. And a lot of times, if you don't have a newer GPU, they render the object at this per display and then upscale it to fill in the pixel blocks, right? And with the current chip on market, XR2, if they were to use XR2, they probably could do some weird stuff with upscaling at this resolution per eye. I'm not sure about this. Maybe close, but I'm not sure about that. It seems like the actual display power is possible with upscaling, but I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if they want to do standalone or just split rendering with a PC to achieve wireless PC VR. Not sure yet. Pimax has messed up a lot. Yes, and the more they mess up, the less of the West they care about, or less of the West cares about them. So, just was a small thing. But you know what? Despite the fact that they mess up, I do see people in chat already saying they love their Pimax headset. People that love their Pimax headset really love it. It's like one of those things where you like either love it or just really don't like it. It depends on the person, which is kind of very unfortunate that they don't have such a huge presence in the Western. Like it's hard to return a product, like because it's like such a strange product compared to most VR headsets that you won't know if it's good for you until you actually try it. So that's kind of a problem. So, have you considered that split rendering might mean multiple SoCs in a standalone headset? Personally, I don't believe that. I think that kind of is not reliable much yet. Well, you know what? Actually, that's not true. So if you talk to so the Valve Deckard stream, I talked about how Valve had a head strap that is clearly has a AMD x86 APU built into the back, and then the front would have a AMD, or not AMD, a Qualcomm chip built into the front, and that would be tethered by a small cable together on the entire headset, and that's how it would be functionally very similar to a PC wirelessly split rendering between the headset, but it's also like two SoCs glued together on the headset a little bit. Weird, but I don't think we're gonna see like two ARM chips built into a like a headset or anything. I don't see that being a thing for now. The K standard has always been resolution with base, but the problem is VR headsets don't usually use rectangular displays, and if they do, they're very slightly rectangular, not like 16:9 aspect ratio. Pimax is like the only headset that I know of that uses full 16:9 displays, which is why it's so like, it's like if you ever see a picture one, they're like, they're like this, the box on the front. So yeah, I don't like how they Pimax is another big problem with Pimax. Yeah, exactly what Hollerette, I hope I said your name right, in chat said. they release headsets a lot, and they kind of have too many headsets on the market. It's hard to keep up with all the different stuff they're releasing. They do need to consolidate a bit more. All right, enough about Pimax. Let's talk about a little bit about this. I don't want to talk too much. So, if you don't know this name, Kuo, very reliable supply analyst. And he said earlier this year that Apple was planning to go into full production of their mixed reality VR headset middle of next year. Well, that got pushed back to 2 quarters. So now that is probably going to be start working on in the later half, the quarter 4 of next year, due to the complex design. Not too surprising. The stuff that they're trying to do in this headset, again, it does not surprise me that they might be having some issues due to their design. Because, again, whenever Apple does announce their headset, I do think it's going to be a very... It's going to be big for the industry, whether that's a good thing or bad thing. Because Apple, you know, Apple does their own thing, but, like, it's usually very monopolistic in a way with their ecosystem stuff, and it kind of scares me a little bit that they're probably going to be so successful. Because Apple, yeah, but they're going to release good hardware. I'm pretty sure whatever they release is going to be insane. So, I don't want to talk too much about that. Yeah, let's go to the next topic. These are just small topics where we're just rushing through now. So Xbox has been talking, or Phil Spencer has been talking a lot about how he doesn't want to make a hardware product, branded under Xbox at least. And he continues to say that. Not much new to say here, but it's I don't think it's unfortunate. I just wonder, because he talks about software. He thinks that Xbox is should be more worried about software right now, not releasing new hardware products like a VR headset. And I do hope that they release or get some teams working on VR software at the very least. He's very respectful of all the players like Sony, Oculus, and Valve, what they've been doing so far in the hardware space. But yeah, Xbox does not care about hardware. Yeah. Which is strange because Microsoft has been doing a lot, like, Microsoft is continually doing a lot of experiments with VR, deep in their offices. But they just don't feel confident enough to release a product for Xbox. Similar to how PSVR 2 is becoming a thing. Imagine Apple putting a notch in the VR displays. Oh my god. I don't even want. Oh my god. Alright, let's talk a little bit about Vive Flow a little bit. Just a little bit. We're not gonna talk too much about it, but I want to talk about Vive Flow and like my only incorrect prediction about Vive Flow. Really, my big one. I was predicting OLED microdisplays. Obviously, that was very off. And I talked to, and some people reached out to me after that stream, and they gave me a pretty good understanding of the micro display industry. That currently, so OLED microdisplays have issues with production yields. And for the OLED microdisplay companies or suppliers that don't have issues, the biggest companies are just signing the biggest contracts with these companies because they want him. Like, I am not incorrect in my belief of OLED microdisplays and how they're going to take over the VR industry. But for smaller players, which honestly HTC is a small player in the scheme of things, compared to companies like Facebook, for example, they don't have the buying power to take over supply lines that are correctly getting the yields. So that was very good that these people reached out to me and gave me a wake-up call on that. But I do believe we're still going to see OLED microdisplays next year in some products, like 100%. I still stand by that. Yeah, and this new job listing came out literally right after the Vive Flow stream. It's a display engineer. to join their hardware team. Especially, clearly, it's related to VR because we go down here. They really want people that have a senior leveled understanding of display technologies, especially LED, OLED, polarization, and backlight. And while polarization and backlight could be related to LCD, it's very strange to talk about this way because we know we've been talking about polarization a lot for lenses, especially. And but these being the two main focuses for what they're looking for in display engineers makes a lot of sense because micro LED and micro LED and micro OLED are definitely big things for the near future of VR. It's just I'm doing a lot of when I get back into my full-blown research mode, I really want to do more research on micro LED because a lot of people are constantly I keep trying to explain that micro LED and micro OLED are different, but it's very difficult for people to wrap their mind around that. So I am going to spend a lot of time researching the differences and then regurgitate the information and what benefits each have, because micro LED will be huge for VR as well, but especially AR. Micro LED will be cheaper to produce when they actually get to that point. Micro LED is really far off because there's not even like full RGB micro LED right now, for what I understand. It's mostly all monochrome. Like they've been able to get different colors like red, green, and blue, but making a RGB micro LED has been very difficult. So we'll probably be using micro LED, OLED until micro LED gets more producible. But when we finally get to the point that micro LED is solved, it will probably take over micro LED. But this is years away, I would say, at least for VR. Yeah, this is a Valve job. This is a Valve job opening. It's still on the website. There was a moment where I thought they removed it after I found it, but like there was some weird issues with the caching of the page that just kept it kept going up and down. So yeah. Figure next summer for, I mean, the time frames, I like to be very confident with my time frame predictions, so I'm always scared. I still think announcement within 6 months, but like, understand I am doing my best to guess these things, and those are like this, like release dates and pricing is like the scariest thing to predict. And I don't know fully, so. Yeah, but Vive Flow uses LCDs, very similar to this device, actually. The Vive Flow is very similar to this device that came out in 2019. I just want to kind of bring it up for a second. So, I was kind of dramatic talking about the Vive Flow. I don't think the Vive Flow is that... I still don't think the Vive Flow is enticing for a lot of people, including me. But there are things that the Vive Flow does that are beneficial. But I still don't really want one. Especially when I look at products like this. So this is the Huawei VR Glass. This came out in 2019. And it does not have an XR1 chip or anything built in. But it has the same stuff. Same kind of lens design with the diopters and like literally probably the same exact displays as the Vive Flow at a higher refresh rate. And this is purely for media viewing. But you can also plug into a PC if you have a very special cable. I was kind of expressing my interest in this on Twitter, and Palmer Luckey is literally offering me that specialized PC cable, which is very cool. But yeah, this came out in 2019, and it's like $190. And even though again, it doesn't have its own compute unit built in, if I want a media viewer at this resolution and everything, I look at this, and even though it's not compatible with a lot of things as well, again, it's even worse compatibility-wise than the Vive Flow, which doesn't work on iOS or anything, and this won't have, like, hand tracking, which apparently the Vive Flow will eventually have hand tracking someday. It's just, like, for $500, I would personally rather dedicate my money to, the Lynx R1, which they recently posted this video that looks super cool. Like this looks awesome. Oh, another thing that was announced. There's a lot of things that was announced after the Vive Flow keynote on Twitter that was not mentioned anywhere in the actual event. But like they're gonna have hand tracking at some point. Apparently, they're looking into iPhone and laptop support, and they have black and white pass through. And like, it's weird that they bring those up only on like small tweets, like after the fact and everything. It's just like I don't really trust HTC because we've seen some promises like that before with the Cosmos that they were gonna have multiple faceplates to focus on AR and everything. And obviously, when the Cosmos didn't do well, those projects died completely. So I don't know. So, you know, I like what the Vive Flow is doing because, again, I think small form factors are very cool. I think media viewers in small form factors at higher resolutions would be very beneficial. The day where I have super high resolution HMDs in this similar form factor, which I do think is sooner than we think, even at $500, I would buy it to replace like monitors. To have virtual monitors in a space at a high resolution that's comfortable to wear for hours. I mean, people buy TVs for more than $1,000. I see no difference in like the idea of buying something like that for VR at even around $1,000 if it's very good, comfortable, and high resolution. So that's why I'm super hopeful for this kind of device. I hope it's similar to Vive Flow but like way higher resolution, because now you know, Facebook has way more buying power and R&D power than HTC. So we'll see. And also the Vive Flow was originally called the Vive Proton in prototyping. 2 years ago, this was shown off. The Proton. Actually, I actually do want the Upload VR article because they mentioned something really interesting. Yeah, they wait. That's not the one. Hold on. I should have been ready with this one. Oh, I can't find it. Crap, whatever. Well, whatever. The Upload VR article talked about how it was using the old prototype for the Proton actually had micro displays in it. So there was a point in its prototyping history, which again, this is very close to what we got. This was in 2019. Wait, they revealed wasn't it earlier? Pretty sure they revealed it earlier. It was a long time ago that they first showed off like a Proton headset, right? And it took them a while to get it out to market. And and according to Upload VR, there was a version of the Proton that had micro displays in it. So I assume there was one point where they realized they couldn't get the supply lines for the micro displays, and then they pivoted to LCD, and ended up making a product that I don't really know who it's for. But this one over here was a standalone headset with like actual battery and everything in it. So they were doing some things, but it took a while, and it shows. Why having a TV at this point? That's why I mean, like, I think VR media viewers, if they're super lightweight and high resolution, there's a huge value in them. Not even for just gaming, but just in general. Alright. Alright, final topic. Tomorrow. This is our final topic. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it was a lot of information. I've been very good at keeping this around an hour, though. Varjo tomorrow is announcing a prosumer/consumer headset. Almost 100%. It's going to be targeted for prosumers. It will be live streaming tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be streaming it tomorrow. And it'll be one of the most relaxing streams I ever do because I've made very little predictions. However, again, I mentioned earlier how people that work in the industry, they love poking at me and teasing me a little bit. And one of the employees at Varjo is in my Discord, and I was kind of mentioning some things about like how I hoped it still has eye tracking, even though they're going to like consumer level. And he did like a winky, they did like a winky emoji at me when I said that. So hopefully eye tracking. Thank God. I think eye tracking is so important for VR in the next year. So yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say. As always, it was probably overwhelming because Gatling gun mouth. But I really do enjoy this stuff, guys. Like, I really do enjoy it. I don't do it because of any other reason. This is very fun for me. And that's why it's so addicting. Like, that's why that's why I couldn't disconnect myself from it, because I enjoy it so much that it became like an addicting problem for me. But no research until at least after Connect. This was all just like very small bits of research that was mostly done by other people, and I just kind of reported on it. So, and then a little bit of piecing together by me for speculative reasons. Is there anything else that we should talk about before we end the stream and meet back tomorrow for the Vario event? Eye tracking is being kept? Maybe. I don't know. I've done zero research on what Vario is releasing tomorrow, but I have a feeling that a lot of YouTubers probably have this already and will release a review pretty soon after the announcement, or late, at least the first impressions of some sort. I guarantee there's gonna be some embargoes lifting after this, so we'll know a lot about the experience very fast. Huh. Vario again tomorrow. I will schedule the stream for tomorrow, but again, it's oh frick. Here are the times tomorrow. 12 p.m. Eastern time. I will start my stream 30 minutes earlier, if not to make sure that I don't have any issues with a stream key. Yeah, no, what's my favorite food? I don't want to commit to it. I like a lot of Italian food though. Watching any good anime? What am I You know what? This is not anime, but I've been watching some cartoons recently. I've been rewatching Futurama because I haven't watched that show in a while, and I've been like kind of binge watching the entire Futurama. I know it's not anime, but like Futurama is a great show. But Mob Psycho season 3 was announced yesterday. That's cool. Thoughts on Steam crypto / oh yeah, so if you don't know, Valve has basically said that if you release a game or something on Steam that's literally built around NFTs or blockchain, you are not allowed to do that. My opinion is, I personally agree with that stance. And because I said that, there'll probably be a bunch of Twitter bots replying on my tweets saying I'm garbage. But yeah. What games did I play? I mostly Dota 2. I have a problem. So Dota 2 is like, I've been playing Dota 2 for like almost 10 years, or not almost, like almost 8 years. And it's like the only flat game I play. But I enjoy it a lot because it's one of those games that challenges myself. And right after the International, which is like the biggest Dota 2 tournament, ended, you always want to come back to Dota 2 after watching the International, because it's just such a great time of year for Dota 2 fans. Looking forward to any games? Oh god. Well, Resident Evil 4 came out for Quest 2. People have been saying pretty good things, mostly. I don't think I'm gonna really care about playing it though, but the embargo lifted today for Resident Evil 4 on Quest 2. If you're interested in that, go check out a lot of YouTubers because the embargo lifted. I'm not sure what I'm excited for, honestly. I'm more excited. So this is pathetic, but I'm more excited for some really good hardware to come out, so I can go back to the games I have and see them in a whole new light again. That's what I love about new hardware, is because all the games I have already, they just look so much better all the time, you know? I have about 5,000 hours of Dota. I'm near ancient rank, but it's gone down a lot because I kind of throw my games. I'm a support main, by the way, so. You need to play Eye of the Temple? Yes, I do want to play Eye of the Temple. I haven't played Lone Echo 2. I want to play Lone Echo 2 as well. I do. Those are especially Lone Echo 2, that's another game where it's like, man, they spent so much time and effort in like the visuals and everything. If I have like a really good hardware to play that, that'd be amazing. Of course, there's some issues with Revive, I heard. The game doesn't run very well with Revive. Arknights Under Tides? I haven't heard that one. VR Chat Fizzbones update is like the only thing I'm looking forward to right now. When is that planned? Do we VR Chat recently, or I think it's an open beta, but VR Chat added a new camera for VR, and it looks amazing. Very awesome stuff they added to the camera. I've been using VRC Lens for a while in VR Chat because I loved it. I love especially having a zoom on a camera in VR. There's something really powerful about having a camera in VR games, especially like social VR games, because like literally all I do when I do a lot of VR Chat like nights where we just explore worlds with like some people in my Discord, and most of the time honestly it's just exploring worlds and taking group photos. I'm addicted to it. That's my favorite thing about stuff in VR Chat, is taking photos of the people I hang out with. I love it. Wow, Eye of the Temple, best room scale game since consumer launch. Holy frick. That is so Bowl, if you don't know who Bowl is, Bowl literally is like one of the main OGs of VR since like consumer VR kicked up, even before 2016, like years before that. And he's played so many VR games, guys. So whenever he has like a very high rating of a VR game, that makes me like widen my eyes and be like, okay, I really need to play it. Kroy VR too. Kroy VR is another person that like whenever they say something good about a game, I'm like, I gotta try it. Do you enjoy being a chicken? I didn't like being a chicken last time. Like I freaking got nauseous, got stuck in the floors. The goal was fall, but we never. Yeah. Let's hope Vario will support Radeon. I don't know anything. So the only thing about Vario is they're probably going to remove the OLED micro displays, is my guess, and have LCD only to dramatically break down the costs. But I imagine they're still going to have a really good displays in it, like very high res. And one thing I've always heard about Vario products is they're actually very comfortable to wear. Like the head strap design is very comfortable. So I think they're going to be very competitive against the current Index, actually. I think that's like the big thing. People are going to like stop talking about buying the Index HMD, and they're probably going to be talking about whatever they announce tomorrow. It's my guess. Neos is greater than VRC. I like them both. Neos is amazing, and VRChat has way more worlds to explore. But I like them both for different reasons, you know. Do you prefer NVIDIA or AMD? Right now, I am an AMD user because I like what they're doing with Linux and open sourcing stuff, and just I like AMD as a company more than NVIDIA. But I don't miss too much actually in switching. I was actually very scared when I switched from NVIDIA to AMD because I was kind of scared of all the stuff I was going to miss out technology-wise. Then I realized I don't really play that many RTX games, and AMD has better rasterization, so it's actually not been that big of a deal switching over for me. Will Facebook release? I don't know what they're gonna announce or release hardware-wise. I hope they at least talk about their prototypes, man. I want to know about every single one they tease. Oh, that's not a prototype. I want to know about all of them. Vario also has some cool, some very cool software tools. Vario is like a sleeper in the industry, kind of. Like they've been doing such cool stuff with enterprise, and like their headsets have also been getting cheaper and better over time in the enterprise sector as well. So yeah, I'm constantly watching the Neos GitHub and the roadmap because I have some friends that are very into Neos. Like they spend every day, every night in it, and they always tell me when something's new, which is I'm very glad they do that. I'm not gonna guess the price tag for tomorrow. I mean, it's just one more day. We'll be all here tomorrow, and if we're all PCVR nerds, we're all gonna have a fun time tomorrow, seeing what they release. And whatever they do announce, I'm probably gonna go into my nerdy spiel, no matter what. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see OLED micro displays tomorrow, though, guys. I really don't think so. That just seems unlikely. Because, so the reason why I don't think that, guys, so the current Vario headsets has 2 wires to drive all the displays, which they technically have 4 displays per Enterprise HMD, which requires bandwidth through 2 cables, 2 DisplayPort cables. All the teasers for Vario have teased 1 cable. And I think they're going to keep the LCD because 1, LCD is cheaper, and 2, to only have a micro display in these headsets, they would need to do completely new R&D on new lenses, which is expensive for a company like this. So I think they're going to most likely just take things away from their enterprise headset and then release a prosumer headset that will still be very competitive in a lot of ways. Yeah. Do you plan to buy... If I had the money, I would buy literally every headset that's announced and do teardowns. Either live or recorded teardowns of every headset. Because the more I do this research stuff and like finding out about hardware pieces, the more I want to tear down headsets and see what all the suppliers used for their components, and also see how fixable they would be. I'm guessing most headsets these days are not very fixable though. But yeah. All right. Yep. All right, guys. I think that's it for the night or the day. I hope you enjoy the stream again tomorrow. 12 p.m. Eastern, we'll be streaming. I'll put a scheduled stream so we can all set a reminder. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for the kind wishes again. And I hope you all have a great day. And see you tomorrow.